Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Now available on Apple Podcasts, Podcast One, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. And today, we've got news stories from around the world, guaranteed to thrill, chill, and make you spill your drink if you're balancing it on your knee in a dark room while listening. That's all I can say, Tim. I guess I shouldn't have guaranteed, but
please don't make me spill, because I actually have a drink with me. And it would go all over the equipment. We'd end this broadcast.
Now, that wouldn't be good at all.
No.
But you know it would be good? If you picked up the phone right now and dialed our Voices from Beyond voicemail. Why, you say? Well, not only can you call and leave us your paranormal encounters, but today, specifically today or this weekend, you can leave a special happy 50th birthday message for our very own Darkness Radio Timmy D, whose birthday was this last Wednesday. But if you'd like to call in and just give him some love, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. Tim mans those lines, so he will check them, hear them, and see all of your loving messages coming in. So feel free to call and tell him how important he is to you, how much you love Timmy D, how much you love his new show appearing on Friday nights on the Travel Channel called Paranormal Night Shift. You can sing to him. You can pantomime. You can just call and heavy breathe. Whatever you feel is the best way to honor Tim Dennis. You can do that by celebrating his 50th birthday.
Can I just real quick say thank you to everybody who did wish me a happy birthday on my birthday. I really do appreciate the messages, the love.
I get it.
It was very nice. I did get two young man and kid messages, which I really did appreciate. I got a lot of old man messages, which I appreciated as well. It's good to be an old man, I guess. I'm cringing a little bit at the age. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, brother. I know. I've been sitting there squarely for 2 and almost 3 years. So I totally get your sense. So here's the deal. I have no excuses, period, for not noticing Tim's birthday on Wednesday publicly. I could say I was saving it for the big reveal today on the show so we could make a bigger deal and reach a much wider, broader audience. The fact is there's 900 people I know with birthdays in August, and it slipped my mind because I went and visited him last week and dropped off a birthday gift for him.
You did, and it was actually a very touching gift, and I wanted to thank you publicly today.
You're welcome.
And I gotta tell people, ever since I can remember, I think maybe 4 or 5 years old, I have sat in front of a TV and I have grieved publicly over the Minnesota Vikings. But in its heyday, the Vikings were a Super Bowl team. I know it's hard to imagine. And the Purple People Eater defense was the first thing I can ever remember. And you did a very sweet thing by getting me a very nice gift involving the Purple People Eater defense. And it touched me very much. I greatly appreciate it. So.
Well, you know how much I enjoy touching you. So, both of us, actually.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you like it. But I do. I'm feeling horribly guilty about not having actually contacted you on your 50th.
No.
And there's no excuse. It just, I don't know about you, man. And again, this sounds like excuses. My days are meaningless right now. I can't tell you what day of the week we're recording the episode on. I can't tell you. I have no concept of time anymore.
Well, in all fairness, I'm going to save you here. Today, as we record this, it's your lovely wife Winnie's birthday. So
it is.
We want to say happy birthday to her today as well.
Happy birthday, honey. We love you very much. And I'm still talking to Tim and to my wife Winnie as well. So happy birthday to her. So just to keep audiences abreast of what's going on here, I think everything is going on as normal in life. I am very limited and don't know what's happening in the next couple of days here. I've had a hernia problem for going on 5 months. Mm-hmm. The hospitals, the doctors have told me to try to stay out as long as I can because you don't want, you just don't want the COVID. You don't want to be around a hospital. You don't want to do anything. Well, I'm also getting to the point where it hurts when I laugh, sneeze, cough, fart, whatever, Tim. Anything that is sudden and it's killing me. And walking is brutal. So it's just gotten worse and worse, and I don't know why. So I'm trying to get in for surgery. We thought we were going to be good to go. We had to be cautious because my ex-wife came into contact with people through her work that were, what's the word I'm looking for, exposed. So we had to wait through her quarantine now. But yeah, I'm just in miserable pain most of the day. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We should be good to go, but I'm just putting this out there. So if they go in and nick my bowels while I'm doing this and I don't make it to the next episodes, I just want people to understand why. And thank you for tuning in all these years to Darkness Radio.
It's a scary, dangerous situation. And believe me, Dave made and Dave and I don't live like right down the block from each other, contrary to popular belief. I mean, we're separated by a lot of miles here in the Twin Cities. So it was very nice of him to come up and make a special trip and everything. So it's not like Dave hasn't wished me a happy birthday or made an extra trip or anything like that. So it's, there's nothing wrong or nothing going on here or anything. Dave's been in a lot of pain and we communicate every day as it is anyway. So it's not, there's nothing unusual going on or anything like that.
And you forget, I know this aside from, I think just Messenger. I haven't popped on Facebook in a couple of days.
Right. Yeah.
And that's part of why I missed the reminder I got to remind Tim publicly. So I apologize for all the people that have wondered why I was remiss in doing so. That's
other
the situation.
Than necessary business that we have to take care of, I've left you alone because I know how painful stuff is. So I don't bother you, to let you rest and take care of what you need to take care of, because I know what it's like to be in chronic pain. It's not fun. So.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. Exciting stuff, good times, great oldies, cool 108.
Flashback to the old place, huh?
Yeah. All right, we've got news stories. We've got your stories. We've got phone calls. That's right. 2 of you loosened your lips' purse strings, and you've allowed yourself to tell your stories. And we appreciate it. So for Tim's 50th birthday extravaganza episode, let's go ahead and share one of those caller encounters right now. And again, if you want to be a part of the show, 651-300-4977, and you can share your story just like this listener.
Hi, Dave and Tim. My name is Chris, and currently I am living in the state of Montana. I want to share my very first experience with an Ouija board. I was 14 at the time, lived in a little town in Nebraska. First of all, to let you know that back in the 80s, this was like 1981 or so, especially in the Midwest, it wasn't acceptable for a man and a woman to live together if they weren't married. So we were kind of targeted in that town. Anyway, we would leave our home to go get groceries and come back, and our trailer would be broken into and have feces smeared on the curtains and walls, and have our pipes insulation. We didn't know till later till our pipes froze that they had taken the insulation off of our pipes, and we were pretty sure it was our neighbor. But anyway, so going to the small school there, probably about maybe 40 students from kindergarten till 8th grade. I was the one that nobody wanted to be around because of my mom and her boyfriend not being married and being new. And also, this sounds silly, but being a redhead, my whole life growing up, red hair was not in, and I was constantly bullied about it. And anyway, so because I didn't have any friends, I somehow had acquired an Ouija board. You know, I really can't remember how I got it, but I would come home from school, a bad day, and I would find comfort in using it. I had a bad crush on a rock star, and I would ask, you know, silly questions as a 14-year-old girl would be like, oh, will I ever marry him? And it would say no, and that would be upsetting to me and stuff like that. My mom had lost jewelry and was upset thinking I had something to do with it. And I said, well, no, I had nothing to do with, you know, you losing that. Let's just ask the Ouija board where it's at. And it told us, and it became a natural habit when I would get back home from school. And because we didn't have any money, we never really went anywhere except, you know, get groceries or whatever. So I felt comfort in having something to communicate with. And one night, when I was sleeping, I was woken up and I was laying in bed trying to figure out where a noise was coming from. It sounded like maybe like a mouse or something had gotten into one of the drawers in my room and couldn't get out or something. I just laid there for the longest time listening to this noise, and finally I got the nerve to get up, and I opened up the drawer, and it was coming from inside of the box of the Ouija board. I lifted the top up, and the planchette was bouncing all over the place. It was going all by itself, bouncing all over the place on the side of the board, and it scared me, so I picked it up and ran into my mom's bedroom and crying, and she turned on the light, and she was mad because I woke her up, and she goes, well, just give the damn thing to me and go back to bed because I had to go to school the next day. And well, anyway, what turned out, she called her best friend who lived an hour away out in the boonies, this beautiful house, and she called her up. Her name was Deb, and said, can we bring this Ouija board out to you? Because I've been having dreams that her boyfriend was trying to kill her, and he was having dreams that my mom was trying to kill him since she had the Ouija board in her room. And they just kind of laughed and said, okay. So we went out there, and when we went out there, they kind of prepared, like, to scare me because I was only 14. They had taken a stuffed animal, put a rope around its head, hung it in the closet, and put ketchup dripping down it. And I knew something was up as soon as we went in the house because they were giggling and laughing and say, oh, Crystal, look in the closet. And when I opened it up, it was that. And I was just kind of like, how stupid, you know. It didn't scare me at all. But anyway, a storm hit, and we were in the house, and everybody not me, of course, and my brother because we were too young, but they had all gotten drunk. And said, let's get this puppy out. You know, they got the Ouija board out, and we're, you know, asking it questions and stuff. And they said, well, let's ask how Chris, I'm just calling myself Chris, is going to die. And I'm like, no, don't do that. And it said in an alley. And they're like, how? And this sounds really weird. I hate to say it on the phone. It said she's going to be beat to death with a dildo. I know. I'm only 14. I had no idea what a dildo was. They were laughing their heads off. And I was just, I know they were drunk and everything, but I was looking at them like, okay, this board just told them I was going to die in an alley, and they're all laughing hysterically. And my mom never did tell me what that was. I learned when I got older, of course, what it was. But anyway, that was really awful to me to hear that. And so anyway, Debbie agreed to go ahead and let my mom leave the board out there. It wasn't even a week later, Deb called the house and told my mom, you got to come out and pick this up because I'm having dreams I'm killing my husband. He's having dreams that I'm killing him. And so anyway, my mom ended up asking her mother, who lived in another state, if she would take the board. I don't know why they didn't just bury it or burn it or whatever, which probably wouldn't have been a good thing to do anyway. But my mom mailed it to my grandmother, who didn't believe in any of this stuff. Long story short, my grandmother was at work. She worked in a hotel as a cleaner, and the mop bucket tipped over, got underneath a refrigerator, and electrocuted her. She had to have a pacemaker put in, and the rest of her life she was basically, she couldn't work. She was disabled because of all the complications of what happened with being electrocuted. So we really do feel that it was because of her having the old Ouija board that this happened. So anyway, that is my story, and I listen to your show all the time, and thank you very much. Keep on the good work, and congratulations on your show. Goodbye.
Well, since we're here and we're celebrating Tim's birthday today on the show, many listeners have sent in this story to me for Tim's birthday.
Oh, no.
Because they knew that this is something he would want to hear, that he is perhaps one step closer to the box of golden, delicious, tasty cakes that are known as Twinkies.
Okay.
Former Navy Top Gun instructor says that AI defeated a human pilot in a simulated dogfight, but it would have crashed and burned in the real world. Oh, that's a little takeaway, Tim. Artificial intelligence algorithm destroyed a seasoned U.S. fighter pilot in a simulated dogfight last week. Destroyed it, Tim.
Yep.
A result some expert observers say was to be expected. I was not surprised by that outcome, Guy Bus Snodgrass, a former U.S. Navy pilot and Top Gun instructor, told Insider, arguing that the setup of the engagement gave the AI an advantage. John J.V. Venable, a former U.S. Air Force F-16 pilot, said the same. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, also known as DARPA, held the last rounds of its third and final Alpha Dogfight competition on Thursday, putting an AI system designed by Heron Systems against a human pilot in a simulated within visual range air combat situation. The AI algorithm, which had previously defeated other AI pilots, achieved a flawless victory, winning 5 straight matches without the human pilot. An experienced Air Force pilot and weapons instructor course graduate with the call sign Banger never scored a hit. Without the human pilot, an experience. Oh, okay, that's what it's saying. Yes, that the other guy that was shooting him never even got one hit in. So that's how good this AI pilot was. Wow. Advancements in air combat capabilities have long raised questions about whether dogfighting even matters. Both Venable and Snodgrass said it remained relevant because pilots must be prepared to dogfight should their standoff capabilities be neutralized. In a best-case scenario, dogfighting is completely irrelevant because you want to see your adversary as far away as possible, Snodgrass said. But sometimes pilots are unable to defeat their opponent before they find themselves in close combat. Now you're left to a bullet, Venable said. So they're saying that that this dogfight style thing, the AI is creepy good.
See?
Creepy good, Tim.
See? So then here's the scenario, Dave, if I may. Yeah. If I may. Shoot down the plane. Pilot survives. Here comes Mr. Creepy Terminator guy, right? Just for fun. tears open the glass door on the cockpit, shoots all of your limbs so you can't move. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Then
decides just to start stepping on body parts and break every bone in your body.
Wow.
Right? Just to get you to feel pain right before the end when he slowly crushes your skull as he steps on it.
Oh, you spend a lot of time thinking about this, buddy. I'm starting to get concerned for you. 50 years old. I mean, we all start to face mortality issues, but
I've seen all the movies.
Creepy.
Yeah, I've seen all the movies, so, But then, then slowly steps on your skull and watches it crush into dust and watches your light extinguish and gets that, creepy little AI joy that it gets. It only feels joy as it's extinguishing the light from every human it can find. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. We need to get rid of all technology right now. We just need to go back to caveman days when all we were doing was light and fire with flints.
Tim, if we do that, how are people going to tune into the show, and how are we going to record it without technology?
Ooh,
crap.
Yeah, you're right. All right, never mind. Forget I said that. Forget it. We can roll back a little bit, but
Well, here's a story to cheer you up, Tim. Since we gave your story of AI, it's not to be said there wasn't a challenger to the throne this week.
Really?
Because a woman pronounced dead was later found breathing at a Detroit funeral home as they were about to embalm her. Ooh. A 20-year-old woman believed to have died was found breathing at this Detroit funeral home. According to an attorney hired by her family, workers at the funeral home were very close to embalming Tamisha Beauchamp before realizing she was still breathing.
Oh, God.
They were about to embalm her, which is the most frightening had she not had her eyes open. They would have begun draining her blood, to be very, very frank about it, said Jeffrey Feger, an attorney who had been hired by the Beauchamp family.
Oh, no.
On Sunday, see, people coming back from the dead, AI, it might be a tie. What if the world's overtaken by zombies and AI at the same time?
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
On Sunday morning, paramedics with the Southfield Fire Department in Michigan responded after receiving a call about an unresponsive woman. The department's fire chief said Beauchamp was not breathing when the paramedics arrived. First responders determined that after 30 minutes of revival efforts, she was dead. Or was she? Because there was no indication of foul play as per standard operating procedure. The Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office was contacted and given the medical data. The patient was again determined to have expired, and the body was released directly to the family to make arrangements with a funeral home of their choosing, the chief said in a statement. Figure says that Beauchamp's godmother, a registered nurse, tried to tell EMS workers she had felt a pulse. Hours later, the staff at the James H. Cole Funeral Home realized she was, in fact, still breathing. It's one of people's worst nightmares to imagine having an ambulance called and instead sending you off to a funeral home in a body bag. Funeral home unzipping the body bag. Literally, that's what happened to Tamisha. And seeing her alive with her eyes open, Feger said.
Oh, God. No.
Well, first of all, how would you like to be the guy in the funeral home? Gets the body, puts it on the slab, opens up the bag, and all of a sudden the eyes open. After all the zombie movies I've seen, two things are going to happen. Well, three things are going to happen. I'm probably going to poop myself.
Right, yep.
And then I might scream. And then I'm probably going to put like an ice pick through the skull.
I was going to say I'd find the heaviest thing I could find and start swinging.
I might black out too. Who knows? Oof, that'd be a job I would not want. Beauchamp is in critical condition at Sinai Grace Hospital and is on a ventilator. Feger said that the 90-minute delay Beauchamp encountered by going to the funeral home instead of going to the hospital may end up being critical to her recovery.
Oh, no.
It is still unclear what led up to the call for the unresponsive woman. A local emergency department physician pronounced the patient deceased based upon medical information provided by the Southfield Fire Department at the scene. Well, shouldn't the department physician check? I mean, here's the one thing. I'm not slamming EMTs.
Right.
We know a lot of EMTs. My son is a certified EMT. But an EMT's job is emergency medical tech. They're not full doctors. Shouldn't they try to revive? If they can't, bring it into the hospital, let doctors just do a cursory examination? I don't know. That would be my guess. Not just, yeah, hey, this is Bob. My brother Doug and I just picked up a corpse. Hey, should we drop her off at the old funeral home? She ain't real responsive. Hey, we waved a beer and a donut in front of her nose. She never did wake up, eh?
I know I'd come to with a beer and a donut.
Right, who wouldn't? So, I don't know. I would, oh, God, Tim, you know the rule.
Yeah.
If they say they found me dead, you play an old phone ringing.
Yep.
That should wake me up out of any coma because I hate that noise. So
I know.
I'm just saying, don't let them put me in the ground or start to bleed me.
My worst fear would be, first of all, I'm so claustrophobic, it's ridiculous. It takes me 4 Valium just to get into an MRI machine. I think waking up in a body bag would freak me out. But just waking up on a slab, getting ready to get pierced in the side to have all my blood drained, I would freak out. I think I'd start swinging at the guy ready to do it. I think there'd be a lot of swinging going on there at the funeral home.
And we were swinging. I know. Oh, good God. If we have, and I know we do, if we have any of our listeners out there, funeral home director listeners, that have ever had something like that happen where, not that, you accidentally do it, but that you've also found a body before it was truly expired, let us know. The terrifying stories to me, this is still the one that jumps out. If I mention thought dead, still alive, do you know which story is the one that still freaks me out the most?
No, not off the top of my head. Which one?
Oh, God, it is terrifying. And if you don't believe me, look it up, folks. It is a real thing, a real story. So what happened was, Tim, I tells you, what happened is this young boy passed away. Mm-hmm. And the family grieved. And as they were having the wake, the little boy sat up in the coffin. Now, Dave, that's not so weird. We want you to know this, that Dave, sometimes the body does things after death, and sitting up is one of those things. The muscles tighten, something happens, gas shifts. But the kid sits up and starts crying and says it wants water. And the parents clutch their child, kiss and love their child, get him a glass of water. He drank the water, then sat back down and died.
Oh.
I mean, what the living hell? That, to me, is terrifying.
Yeah.
It's so heartbreakingly sad, I can't even begin to contemplate.
Yeah.
What happened. I mean, it's so, oh, my God, to think you've lost your child, and then suddenly that kid sits up and is crying and wants water, and you think, oh, my God, this is it. We're good. We're back.
Yep.
My life is not over, only to have that baby then slip away from you again. Oh, my, no. Did I mention no, and no? Oh, man.
Talk about a roller coaster.
God, unbelievable. Terrifyingly, heartbreakingly unbelievable. I don't, I'm just, ugh. That's to me still the worst story. That and the grandma that got put in the drawer at the morgue, and when they opened it up, she had broken both ankles trying to kick the door open.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that story. Oh. Yeah, that one was, those are my two right there.
Yeah.
Those
are
some weird noises if you're just tuning into the show right now and just heard that. Yeah. Well, Tim, as if 2020 hasn't been just shit show enough. Mm-hmm. An asteroid is heading our way.
I heard about this.
Right before the presidential election. This year could end up with a bang, according to the article, Tim. Scientists recently spotted an asteroid on a direct collision course with Earth, projected to hit a day before the presidential elections in November. The flying space object known as 218 VP1 is expected on November 2nd, according to the Center for Near Object Studies at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The asteroid is 6.5 feet in diameter, according to NASA data. and was first identified at the Palomar Observatory in California 2 years ago. The space agency says there could be 3 potential impacts based on 21 observations spanning 12.968 days, with the chance of a direct impact less than just 1%. But you're saying there's still a chance. That would, I don't know what to think.
Yeah, the size of a refrigerator, roughly.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh.
Although, if you sit and think about it, it will drive you crazy. The amount of near misses that the Earth goes through in even 10 years would drive you nuts. The things that you don't hear about from NASA.
Yep, that's true.
Would drive you insane.
Crazy. Well, let's jump into our next story. Speaking of crazy, and our next story actually comes to us from a listener, Tim. We're going to do a little what we like to call that their real life experiences and such.
All right.
How about that? It's our paranormal Parashare segment. Hi, Dave and Tim.
Hi.
Hi. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm a huge fan of you both and have been listening to your show for about 9 years. The story I'd like to share is about my very first apartment, which, as it turns out, ended up being pretty haunted. First of all, Heather, thank you for the amazing punctuation and writing and spell check. You're bringing a little tear to my eye, Heather. I'm not going to lie. All right. I was young. I just landed a steady job months before, and I was finally ready to strike it out on my own when I found this beautiful apartment in a historic building on the outskirts of Cleveland, Ohio. Built in 1920, it had surely seen its share of tenants over the years. I instantly fell in love with it after touring the place with the landlord, so I signed on the dotted line and moved in shortly after. It wasn't long after moving in that I began to realize I wasn't alone. One particular morning, I was having a hard time waking up for work, and I just kept hitting the snooze on my alarm. The next thing I know, there was a loud clap right beside me. I looked over at my cat, and his reaction told me I was not dreaming and that he had heard it too. His eyes were huge with fear. His ears had swiveled out, presumably to try to detect where the sound was coming from. It was so loud, it couldn't have been more than just a couple feet away. I knew that the unit downstairs was vacant at the time, and my bedroom was situated on the top floor of the outer edge of the building, so there was nobody on the other side of the wall or above me either. As if this wasn't weird enough, the same scenario played out again about a couple months later. This time the spirit snapped its fingers to try to rouse me. When you're a jet, Tim, all the way. My cat was just as freaked out as I was. I distinctly remember saying out loud, I'm up, and getting out of bed in a hurry. The weirdest experience I had, though, in that apartment was one morning. I went out onto the porch to have a cigarette before leaving for work. Don't worry, guys. I don't smoke anymore. Anyway, the door to the porch had an old-fashioned lock, the kind that's just a latch that fits into an eyelet. Upon finishing my cigarette, I grabbed the door handle, only to discover I'd been locked out. Impossible, I thought. The only way to lock this door would have been from the inside. Frantically, I tugged on the door handle again and again, but it wouldn't budge. Knowing that I'd soon be late for work, I had to punch my fist through the screen in order to let myself back in. Oh, but the story doesn't end here. Deciding that I wanted to get some answers about the spirit that haunted my place, I downloaded a ghost radar app on my phone to try to communicate with them. I left it running by my bedside one night while I was sleeping, knowing that I could check the log in the morning to see if there'd been any activity. The app had a word bank the spirits could choose from to communicate, much like a novelist. Between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m., the activity spiked, and several words were spoken. Among them were Italian, fellow, porch, door. To this day, I'm convinced that this was referencing the spirit that locked me out. I never had any feelings of dread or terror while living there. Despite the activity, I communicated with the spirits in my apartment using both the app and my spirit box, and I discovered that there was a female spirit here, too. I get the feeling that the Italian man spirit was a prankster and enjoyed scaring me, but in a way, that was harmless. The female spirits seemed to be curious about me and perhaps even friendly. I moved out of the apartment just 1 year after, and it had nothing to do with spirits and everything to do with a bad landlord. I live just a few blocks away from the building now, and I think of those spirits from time to time when I pass by. I hope they're doing well and that they're not giving the current tenant too much of a hard time. Anyway, that's my story. Thanks for listening, and keep up the good work on your show. Your friend, Heather. Heather. Thank you, Heather. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Dave and Tim, firstly, thanks for a great show every weekend. And I have to say, you guys, along with Zach and his Ghost Adventures crew, blew the pants off of UK's most haunted rubbish. I think they're talking about the Holzer Files as well. That's what they're, I think.
I think
because
so too,
you and I don't have a TV show, but
No.
I have a TV show, and you have a TV show. We're both on Travel Channel.
Right.
That's right, folks. If you haven't heard, Tim's got a show Friday nights on the Travel Channel, Paranormal Night Shift. Go record it, watch it. He will appear on about 8 of the 12 or 13 episodes of the season, and he is one of the experts that'll weigh in on some of the creepy stories, and he's got some creepy stories that they're examining on the show. So check out Paranormal Night Shift. And Holzer Files returns mid-October is, I guess, the shoot date. That's what they're aiming for. Mid-October on Travel Channel. So how about that? Now that's the news. Let's get back to the story. Anyhow, enough of the big ups. See, even the author of the story wants to stop giving us accolades, which I understand.
Right. Yeah.
Over the years, I've heard about people seeing figures or even shadow people from the corner of their eyes, even on the TV shows. Hey, I just saw something from the corner of my eye. Did you see that? So over the last few months, I've moved into a new flat. And over the nights, I kept seeing a black mist or figure for a brief second when I'm ready for bed. At first, I thought nothing of it. But over the weeks, this black figure became more and more prominent, but only from my side vision. It got to the point where it recently made me jump out of my skin, thinking that there was definitely somebody standing beside me. Even writing this now is making me feel a bit nervous. So I told my girlfriend and asked if she had been seeing anything odd around the new flat. And all she came out with was the usual, of course I see something strange. When I come here, it's you. Yeah, thanks for the support. So I started looking things up on the internet as, like I said, this misty figure says nothing, but just stands at the side of a flash of a second, then disappears. And it really makes me jump. So this is where I started looking up corner of the eye phenomena. He said corner of the eye phenomena. It's corner of the eye phenomena, Tim. From what I've read, it's a common ghostly sighting. So I read about that. As you get older, your pupils, your eyes slowly shrink over time, thus causing eye boogers or eye floaters, and also dark shadowing in the corner of your eye, like a quick white or black shadow flash. This occurs as your retina becomes very slightly less attached to your eye. As your eyes get older, also it can happen when you're younger, if you bash your eye like in a fight or an accident. So I took a little visit to my opticians, and this is what's happening to me. This dark figure I'm seeing is my eyes just getting old, and I'm thinking I'm seeing a figure. So what I'm saying is that a lot of this corner of the eye phenomena is mainly caused by your retina slowly giving up on you. It's treatable by surgery, and I'm thinking about it, but what if the figure still flashes up after the surgery? Kazooks! That's what they said. Kazooks! K-A-Z-O-O-O-K-S. That's right, 3 O's, Tim.
Jeez.
So as boring as that little message to you both probably was, I thought I was seeing a ghostly figure, when in fact I am not. Look it up, big bad internet, corner eye shadow flash. Hope it may shine some light on things. Keep up the good work, guys. All the best. Toby from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Toby from the United Kingdom. Always like to enlighten our listeners and share these stories. Speaking of sharing stories, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
For several decades, the James Randi Educational Foundation offered to pay out a substantial amount of money to anyone who could prove that they had supernatural or paranormal abilities. A testing method would be agreed upon in advance. If the person passed the test, the money was theirs. The prize money eventually grew to $1 million. And sadly, it was never claimed. The challenge effectively ended in 2015 when JREF became a grant-giving organization. The money was still there, but the group was no longer just accepting applications from anyone. It's not clear if anyone has ever tried to win the money since then. But now, the Center for Inquiry Investigations Group is stepping in with a challenge of their own. And if anyone can prove their psychic abilities are real, not rare, it could be worth $250,000, Tim.
Wow.
They've actually been offering this challenge for years with a prize up to $100,000. The prize went unclaimed, so now they're upping the value. We've been waiting for 20 years for someone to come along and just blow our minds, and while many have tried, no one has proven they can actually do what they say they can do, said James Underdown, CFIIG founder and executive director of Center of Inquiry West in Los Angeles. Maybe all the real superpowered folks were just waiting for us to raise the stakes. Hopefully $250,000 will do it. And just to help get the word out, we're also offering a $5,000 referral prize to the person who sends us a winning challenger. Wow. So, Tim, if you have a friend that can do something supernatural and paranormal and you refer them, you could get $5,000 if they win. This is starting to sound like a pyramid scheme.
Uh-huh.
And if they could find 5 people under you, Tim, then you would get $1,000 from each one of them. They would get the amazing $4,000, and it just trickles down from there. It's really a good way for everybody to make some money in this time of year.
Sounds like a new show, Trickle Down Paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a trip in the trigger, though, Dave, and the trip in the trigger here is that you have to be able to repeat it scientifically, which they never tell you that.
Uh-huh.
Right? So you have to be able to repeat the experience over and over and over again, and with the paranormal, you can't necessarily do that. So that 200...
You know what, though? Watching the videos, we had... Well, this is our guest tomorrow that we're going to be talking with. There's a new movie documentary called Superhuman on it's out there. Superhuman, the movie, I think, is the link. We have it in tomorrow's episode. Caroline Corey, our guest, then talking about different phenomena and what we're truly capable of. And folks, I'm just going to tell you right now, I love this documentary. It is a great documentary. And I'm not just saying that as the host of a radio show. I love this. You're going to hear the passion in my voice when we talk to Caroline Corey about it. But this is a great documentary. And they do some really remarkable experiments that I can't see why they couldn't do in a laboratory setting and take a shot at this. Well,
and as you know, and you tell me if you got the same impression too. Years ago, when we talked with James Randi,
right,
directly, the amount of cynicism. I should stop drinking before the show. The amount of cynicism that came from him, and this is being somewhat objective about it. The amount of cynicism, and this isn't skepticism, but cynicism that came from him as to whether the paranormal existed made you wonder if he actually looked at any of these experiments with open eyes. Now, he did say he took these experiments and gave them to a third party so it would be open. But the tests and hoops that he made people jump through with JREF, or the James Randi Educational Foundation, made it seem like, it was almost impossible to get that original $1 million. Now, with this other group, maybe it's a little more, the guidelines and the tests that you do have to go through, maybe they're a little more lax, but at least as far as Randi was concerned, those were some pretty stringent guidelines, and there was a reason why some of the bigger people in the paranormal didn't bother to take those tests or jump through those hoops for that $1 million. It was because it was almost impossible to meet the criteria to win the $1 million.
Yeah, and I understand some of the parameters that they set. I really do. But it did seem that there were some parts of it that made it extremely hard, even if the person had that kind of ability. Yeah. And it became subjective, it seemed.
Right, exactly. Yep.
So, I don't know. It's just something to consider. But, I'm actually going to say, hold on. I'm sending this right now to Caroline.
Okay.
These might be something she could take a look at for maybe a follow-up to Superhuman, this story. And I'd like to see, I don't want to give anything away because I want you to listen to the show tomorrow, but we talk about some of the experiments that they did. And I watched it, and some of them seem very easy to do in a lab setting.
Okay.
And why couldn't you win? Just something to consider. But anyway, in response to a question about this challenge and how it compares to the JREF one, Jim Underdown said, "We consider Randy one of our mentors. We deeply appreciate his guidance over the years. The most interesting part of the application may be the part of the agreement that says bluntly, I understand previous applicants have experienced public embarrassment, humiliation, or other emotional states after the demonstration's negative results. And I am willingly risking the same." Hey, that's honesty for you. If you want to take the test, you need to be prepared to deal with the public repercussions of failing the test. The group says it has actively reached out to Tyler Henry, whose Hollywood Medium show airs on E, but for whatever reason, he hasn't yet responded. So I don't know. That's something to consider. I think we should invite them on a show to discuss what the real parameters are and maybe just get the answers directly from them on what they expect.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that? We'll aim for having a show with the skeptics and talk with them about this contest and what all it would take to get that handled. We're going to take a quick break right now. We've got more of your stories. We've got another call. We've got more news from around the world. That's all coming up. Stay tuned. You're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio on this, Tim's 50th birthday celebratory day, right here on Darkness Radio.
Well, here we are on lockdown. How are you? It's Booker of the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker. We get it. We know you're bored. We're still doing shows. We're keeping you up to date with everything entertainment. A little bit of relief from everything that's going on in the world. You could get the show on Spotify. You could get it on your Apple Podcasts or the Podcast One app. Whatever you do, download and subscribe and get the PHP, the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker, and everything that's entertainment will be covered.
We're back. This is the best of paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio, and we've got some exciting news, folks. Big changes are coming mid-September. We want you to keep up on these. Keep checking darknessradio.com. It's important. Check darknessradio.com for these announcements. Exciting stuff we're going to be adding, changing, and implementing on the program, and that should be around mid-September. So keep listening to us as we lead up to that. We'll let you know more and how you can check it out. Remember, you can keep checking our Facebook pages, our social media pages, but if you go to darknessradio.com, you'll find links to Tim and I so that you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, wherever we're located. You can find us there and keep up to date with all the cool news and exciting things that we have that are about to happen here. So keep that in mind. Just something to keep you going. The Surrealiter, Tim, that's the new TV show that's being worked on for Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, really?
As television productions resume in Canada, Sci-Fi has officially ordered the new series, The Surrealiter, to a 10-episode first season and has announced the upcoming supernatural drama's main cast. Okay? Mm-hmm. Developed for television by showrunner and executive producer Greg Olson, the upcoming series follows a group of realtors and renovators tasked with flipping haunted houses by purging them of the paranormal demons and denizens that have driven out other prospective buyers. How about that? Huh? I'm just saying, that sounds pretty intriguing.
Yeah, it does.
And it's the same one that's been talked about for, same kind of show premise. It's been around for quite a while. As a matter of fact, Jeff Belanger and I filmed a sizzle pilot reel for a series just like that. We did about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
With Mally. Mally, as a matter of fact, was part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a show you weren't a part of.
Yeah.
But you are a part of a show now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. It all works out in the end, Tim. Isn't that exciting?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so this new series that has been ordered by the Sci-Fi Channel, developed again by showrunner and executive producer Greg Olson, will follow these realtors and renovators as they kind of clear these houses. The series features an impromptu Schitt's Creek reunion between Tim Rozon and Sarah Levy, with Rozon leading the cast as Nick Roman, the owner of the Roman Agency, a real estate firm specializing in renovating haunted houses. Levy stars as Susan Ireland, what, really? Oh, Sarah Levy. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking Schitt's Creek. I was thinking of Eugene Levy.
Right.
And sudden I saw Levy is playing a female role. I thought, boy, that's really stretching the boundaries of acting. But, who am I to judge? Yeah. But no, Sarah Levy stars as Susan Ireland, a realtor who doesn't believe in the paranormal despite all the evidence to the contrary. Rosen also reunites with Winona Earp co-star Savannah Basley, different connotation, who portrays Roman's office manager Zooey L'Enfant. So there you go. Rounding out the main cast are Adam Corson, who portrays Father Phil Orley, the agency's residential spiritual expert. So this is not a reality style TV show, Tim. This is a regular drama or comedy or dramedy or I don't know, rom-comedy with paranormal implications. I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
Right on.
They're going to start filming in September. So there you go.
All right.
Sounds like it could be a fun one-season show.
A one-season show. Well, you're right. I mean, they never do seem to take off when it's not reality-based, when it's a scripted comedy or something like that.
Well, Medium did well for like 6 or 7 seasons.
I'm talking like on the comedy side. They don't tend to land.
The Ghost Whisperer. Now you've got that What We Do in the Shadows is kind of a paranormally themed TV show.
Yeah.
And that's still doing pretty well out there. And then there's that new one by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, I think. That is a paranormal themed TV show that's I have not yet seen it, and for the life of me cannot remember the name of it.
Well, there you go. See, you just proved my point.
But it's supposed to be doing pretty good. So just something, I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm just saying though that there's
there's not one out there that's overwhelmingly blowing away the public and
no.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Let me see here. Looking through my stories to see what might be cool to share with you next. I had, how about this? It's kind of an interesting follow-up to that same story. All right. Mm-hmm. You can now hire a home exorcist to help cleanse and sell your haunted home.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah. How about them apples? So what you do is you actually, we just talked about a comedy TV series that's saying that, that's what the premise of the entire program is.
Right.
This is a real story.
Huh.
So you can now hire a home exorcist to cleanse your home. Salt Lake City, Utah, KUTV, the Cut is reporting this. Would you purchase a house rumored to be haunted? That's the question. If you said no, you're among the 61% of Americans that would not buy a home if they thought it was haunted, according to a new study. To help owners of haunted homes cleanse their property, you can now hire a home exorcist to get rid of bad vibes, ghosts, and demons. Now, I have a quick question for you, Tim.
Sure.
These studies, who pays for these studies to ask, are you afraid of ghosts? Would you buy? There's got to be some money behind these studies, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not just what's the word when you survey? It's not a survey. This is a study, unless they're misusing the term survey and study.
No, it's probably a combination of both, and it's probably done more like on the East Coast, where you have to reveal whether your house is haunted or not before you sell. And it's probably done either by like the National Realtors Association or by someone who makes a profit off of commissions with homes.
Very well could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know. They say a survey done. Okay, see, it's a survey done by isoldmyhouse.com.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was a website. isoldmyhouse.com. Asked 5,000 Americans about their supernatural beliefs to gauge the impact of paranormal has on selling a property, a news report stated. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the study found the following out about Americans. 55% admit to believing in ghosts or spirits, while 36% reported a paranormal experience. 61%, though, would not buy a home if they thought that the home was haunted. A home rumored to be haunted will stay on the market 133 days longer than the average home. 27% reported a harmless experience with a ghost spirit, such as items being moved. 9% said the paranormal experience was aggressive, such as disturbing noises, physical pain, or items being thrown or broken. 19% have talked with a psychic or a priest about a supernatural event. To help combat these statistics, isoldmyhouse.com is partnering to offer a new home exorcism service, which is free. The website explains how it all works. We've partnered with an exorcist to offer a home exorcism service that will ensure your property is empty of any apparitions. How do you do that? How do you assure that they're going to be emptied of that?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, that seems like shenanigans to me.
Yeah.
You'd have to prove that it existed before you could prove that you cleared them.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. The free service will be facilitated initially by a remote video call between the homeowner and our exorcist, who will be able to diagnose the issue if there is one and offer advice on how to deal with any paranormal activity. In the case that a home visit is required, the homeowner and exorcist can discuss costs moving forward. The study also found that the most haunted states, according to where people report ghost sightings and hauntings, you want to know the top 10 states?
Let me take a guess here. I'm guessing we're going to go Eastern Seaboard, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts.
None of which appear on here so far.
Really? California?
Yep. Oh, no, Massachusetts. I'm sorry. Massachusetts is number 2 on the list. You are right about that one.
Okay, Maine?
No.
Rhode Island?
No.
Florida, South Carolina?
Nope and nope. Kansas actually is number 1.
Kansas?
Yeah. Home to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas is recognized as one of the most haunted military forts in the United States. The apparition of the fort's father, Fred, is known to roam around the chapel. Massachusetts listed as number 2. Number 3, Texas. Number 4, Washington. And they're talking D.C. Oklahoma, number 5. Pennsylvania, number 6. Iowa, number 7. Kentucky, number 8. Alaska, number 9, and Colorado is number 10.
Really?
I call shenanigans. I got to guess places. Well, you know what? But maybe places like New York and California are so busy.
That could be, yeah.
That they just don't notice all of the strange things that happen. But you know who do notice these things? Our listeners, Tim. And they take note. And they call in and tell us their stories. And you can, too. 651-300-4977 is our number. And we want to hear from you. How do you do that? Well, it's real simple. All you have to do is pick up your phone. You have one. I know you do. And then give us a call. 651-300-4977. It's just that simple. Then what we do is we listen to your calls and share them on our upcoming programs. It's that simple. Who wouldn't want to be a part of this? That's what I want to know. Why wouldn't you want to call in and share your strange and supernatural stories? They can be funny, heartwarming, uplifting. They can be scary. They can be ghosts, demons, angels, Ouija, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, aliens, abductions, whatever you've got. We want to hear about it. And all you got to do is pick up that phone and give us a call, just like this caller did.
Hi, Dave and Tim. This is my story. About a year ago, my in-laws purchased a beautiful beach house in Miramar, Florida. My mother-in-law posted a picture of the new place on Facebook and asked her friends for some ideas on what to name the new place. As I looked at the picture, I was so excited. The place was so charming, and I couldn't wait to spend our vacations there. From the picture, I could see that it was seated several yards from the road, surrounded by mature landscape and a lily pond. The home is 3 floors with what I would call a widow's walk on the top floor. This is really just a large square room surrounded by windows and decks on all sides. As I looked at the picture, I had a strong impression that the widow's walk was not as empty as it should have been. I could see a woman with long dark hair pulled into a loose bun. I wondered if my family knew they would be sharing their vacations with a ghost, but I decided to keep it to myself as they were somewhat frightened by the paranormal. Let's call them BBC, curious but chicken. A few weeks ago, we got to spend an amazing week in the beach house. Upon arriving, my mother-in-law gave us a tour of the home, and we settled into our rooms. At first, I didn't feel anything peculiar and started to think I was mistaken about the woman in the widow's walk. That wasn't until my sister-in-law asked me if I thought it was possible there was a ghost upstairs. I asked her what in the world made her think of that. She went on to tell me that her son, who is 18 months old, keeps waiting and smiling at something upstairs. She also told me when she carries him to their room on the second floor, he will put his fingers to his lips and make a shh noise to tell her to be quiet as they ascend the stairs. At that point, I felt I had to come clean, and I told her I believed there was a woman on the third floor. She didn't need to worry because she didn't feel like a threat. I thought she was kind and she was just waiting for someone. A few days into the vacation, I heard a woman say my name from behind me as I walked down the hall to my room. I actually turned and said, "What?" only to see the puzzled looks of my stepson and niece staring back at me. This is where the investigator in me takes over and I decide to do some EVP work while everyone's asleep and the house is quiet. Again, I don't want to frighten my sister-in-law anymore as she is now too scared to go to the bathroom upstairs alone. As I sit down with my recorder, I say a little prayer and introduce myself. I invite her to join me and ask the usual questions. I get nothing. The audio session was a complete failure. The sound contamination was awful. Remember the lily pond I mentioned earlier? Well, it was filled with amorous frogs who were doing their best to seduce the entire frog population of all of Florida and the surrounding states. I gave up and went to bed feeling disappointed that I had not been able to connect with this lady. Finally, a few nights later, I was alone in the kitchen cleaning up. I stood with my back to the room as I wiped down the stovetop. As I looked up at the microwave above the stove, I saw the woman cross the room behind me in the reflection of the microwave door. She looked nearly solid to me. Her hair was down and she wore a white nightgown. She seemed very busy to me as she moved in a hurried manner. She didn't seem to take notice of me at all. I said, "Hello," but she was gone. She just disappeared into the pantry. I'm going to do some research on the home to see what I can find out. It's not an old home, so it doesn't fit the romantic storyline of the widow walking and waiting for her love to return from the sea. Not to mention, you can't actually see the sea from the house. The beach is a 5-minute walk away. Anyway, I'll let you know if I find anything cool. Thanks for the years of podcasts and the zillions of giggles. The two of you make my day. Love and light, Karma.
See how simple that was, Tim? It costs nothing to do it. You can be a part of the show, and all it takes is you to dial a phone. Yeah, I think everybody here can dial a phone, don't you think?
Well, what about someone with... Well, forget it. I was going to make a really bad joke, but I'll digress.
Please, digress away. But here's my point, is it's simple. It's free for you. It's exciting for us, and our listeners worldwide get a chance to hear from other amazing listeners that have stories to share. So why not be a part of the fun and give us a call? 651-300-4977. You'll be featured on an upcoming episode of our program, and that's exciting. To me, that's exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So be a part of the program and share. Tim, 50 years in.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, 50 years. You're 50 years old now. Whew, boy. So what advice do you have for listeners about living life now? Now that you're on the backside of life, now that you're on the downward spiral, if you will. Now that the hill before you has begun to crash, I'm just asking, what would you say is some advice that you would give to our brilliant listeners around the world for, just to take with them? What?
Honestly, as a kid, I never thought I'd get to be this old, so I don't know.
Isn't it funny to think? Literally, I remember laying in bed at like the age of 10, measuring out what years I will be hitting big numbers. And thinking, oh, man, it's going to be 2017 when I'm 50, 2007. That's like the year of Star Trek. That's crazy. How is this even possible? But it is. It's very possible. You hit it, and it's here much too quickly. That's all I got to say.
I thought in the year 2020 we'd all be living like with technology like Star Wars. I didn't think it'd be so. I mean, we have some amazing technology. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not as advanced as I thought we'd be.
Were you hoping for hover cars?
I did. I thought we'd have land speeders and lightsabers. And I
don't see. Yeah, well, we folks give up on flying cars. The Jetsons reality is never going to happen for us. Never. Because we can't be trusted on the road. Could you imagine people taking, turns off your property, because they're going to cut over your house to get to their house a little quicker?
Oh, we'd all crash into each other and die.
It's horrible. Yeah. And then I just can't see how flying cars could be a thing again, because there are so many psychopaths out there.
Right.
And if you think road rage is bad now, and you think your wife's cheating on you with your best buddy Larry, and you might just fly your flying Mini Coupe right through their window. I don't know. It just seems like a bad plan to me.
Yeah. It would be horrible. We wouldn't be able to get anywhere. You think air traffic is bad now with just with airplanes that are controlled by commercial airlines and the few private small aircraft that are out there. Just put everybody in an aircraft and see what happens. Yeah,
I'd love it. Wouldn't it be kind of cool? But I don't see how it would work. I think it's an impossible feature. But you know what isn't impossible? Seeing strange lights in the sky.
Well,
people have it happen all the time, Tim.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Strange lights, as a matter of fact, in Horsham sky, consistent with Sussex UFO sightings, says a paranormal investigator. Malcolm Robinson, who founded the Strange Phenomena Investigations in 1979, said the unidentified flying objects witnessed in Billingshurst, Barnes, Green, Warnham, and Rudgwick are similar to other sightings in the county. He said the lights could not be definitively identified without further information, but that just 1% of sightings are likely to be aerial objects that defy all explanation. Malcolm added 95% of all UFO reports have natural explanations. It's only a small 5% we just don't currently understand. And that 5%, 3% could be secret government technology, according to Malcolm. Recently graduated Air Cadet Alex Brittle reported seeing a bright orange light over Billingshurst, moving high and flashing before speeding up and disappearing. People in Barnes, Green, and Warnham also reported seeing strange lights. Diane Sterling saw them at her home in Warnham at about the same time as Alex witnessed them. I saw a flash, almost like a plane's light flashing, but just one. Then a trail, and it literally disappeared, she said. Building contractor Kevin Leader spotted a strange object in the night sky while taking a photo of a plane near his home in Rudgwick. I saw an object at the front of the plane, which then went to the back and then went vertically at speed. When he later studied the photo, he saw a bright, round-shaped object in the trail of the craft. It's clear to me that it wasn't a weather balloon, satellite, or Chinese lantern. It was shaped like what people call a UFO or a spacecraft. Malcolm said he works at the sharp end of ufology. The study of UFOs has been heard crazy stories in his last 4 decades of investigations. The investigator has written several books on paranormal activity and joined a submarine trip in Loch Ness in a bid to locate the Loch Ness Monster. He even said Steven Spielberg wanted to help him catch Nessie and that he was once slapped in the face by a ghost. Malcolm said there are a lot of armchair skeptics and that his work also includes uncovering fraudsters. Going down, I think the problem with those little submersible submarines is that there's no visibility in Loch Ness. You have to be first of all, Loch Ness is huge, monstrous, and so deep. There's no way you can cover it. It'd be like playing Marco Polo in the pool. Your eyes are blindfolded. You'd literally have to bump into the damn Loch Ness Monster. Unless he's like, hey, what's that over there?
Well, even then, isn't it a bit murky? I've never been there, but isn't it a bit murky? So even if you bumped into it, you wouldn't know exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah, Well, I think, anytime you get up on something, but you'd only be seeing a portion of it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Not me. This guy right, doesn't know. It's been officially confirmed, the new location for this year's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here over in England, Tim. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, show bosses have already confirmed that the show would not be going ahead in Australia, as has always been the case. Instead, the cast and crew will remain in the UK, although it's promised that we can still expect the same fun, challenges, and, of course, rice and bean meals for the campmates. There was speculation that the show would be filmed in Scotland, but today ITV has officially confirmed the new location, which is Grinch Castle in Abergwyll in northern Wales. Announcing the news today, Richard Cowles, director of entertainment at ITV Studios, said the Australian jungle is such an integral part of our show, and it was a big challenge to find a UK location where we could continue to deliver what viewers love about I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. He said, but Greenwich will definitely do that. The castle sits in an amazing and atmospheric setting on a hillside overlooking the Irish Sea. The castle dates back to the 19th century, purchased by the Greenwich Castle Preservation Trust, founded by 12-year-old Mark Baker back in 1996 on behalf of Wales with the help of the National Heritage Memorial Fund and the Richard Broyd Charitable Trust. Now, Dr. Mark Baker, still chair of the Greenwich Castle Preservation Trust to this day, said, I'm absolutely delighted that I'm a Celebrity has chosen the castle to be its UK location for the 2020 series. He adds that the castle is a beautiful grade. I listed 19th century house and, or grade 1 listed 19th century house and a must-see destination for tourists. I've seen it. I'm a Celebrity being here will really help support the castle and its ongoing restoration, as well as giving the region a much-needed economic boost. Although an absolutely stunning location, rumor has it, Tim, that the castle is haunted and that they regularly conduct ghost tours when open to the public. Writing on the website, the owners explain within the chapel, Baker House, and Coach House, some people have experienced the presence of the old gamekeeper, a distressed dairymaid, and other household staff. However, you may well prefer them over an encounter with the dark spirit of the Countess's tyrannical husband, the Earl of Dundonald. Not Donald Duck, Tim, but the Earl of Dundonald.
Oh, yeah.
Not Dumb Donald from Fat Albert.
Oh, see,
It's the Earl of Dundonald.
I would
Here
have
to say.
I would have feared the Earl of Dundonald much, much more.
The Earl of Dundonald is said to stalk the castle he stole from her after her death. Is it really stealing from her once she's dead?
No.
Right. Inherited, I think, is a term we use in the United States.
It's exactly what it is, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too picky. I'm just saying that's the way it seems to be. Meanwhile, a former volunteer at the site says the handrail gave way to nothingness, and I felt something propel me up 3 stairs. Up 3 stairs. Seconds later, my colleague told me that the butler died right there on the same staircase. I hadn't told her what just happened. If it was one thing for our celebrities to tackle some creepy critters, taking on the paranormal is a whole other thing entirely, and we have to say we are absolutely buzzing for it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna reality series locking people in like Big Brother, like when this help Get Me Out, I'm a Celebrity, or whatever it's called. They take, I think B and C and D level celebrities and put them into these places and put you into, it's kind of like Survivor mode.
Okay.
So kind of like Big Brother, Survivor, that kind of stuff. Now, a freaked out mom is taken to TikTok to share an alleged paranormal happening involving her 2-year-old son, Jace. Chrissy Smith, a 25-year-old mom of 2 boys who founded her own cosmetics line, explained in her now viral video that Jace has been the center of multiple unexplained incidences since he was born, including one that took place at a local park on August 22nd. I'm freaking out a little bit, Smith says in a TikTok that has been viewed 10.7 million times. My son Jace, he can totally sense things. Ever since he was little, I've known it. There have been some things that have been happening in my house, things that he says he sees. When we go to arcades, he can literally make things turn on that are broken. We just came back from the park, and all my son did was walk over to the swings and stare at them and get very freaked out, she continued. And then this started happening. So I'm going to insert the clip because I just can't explain it and nobody's going to believe me. So here you go. The TikTok then cuts to a clip of 4 swings simultaneously swaying in alternating directions with Jace just standing in front of them. TikTokers are pretty alarmed by this seemingly strange encounter. Are you sure he ain't possessed? One wrote. Don't let the government see this, said another. He's going to have 2020 watch, wished a third. Of course, there could be a much simpler solution than paranormal activity. Someone could have just pushed the swings and ran, leaving Jace to marvel at them, making it appear as if he had begun moving them by himself. That's what I get the impression of looking for this. I don't mean to be a poo-pooer of such stories, Tim, but that's what it sure looks like when I watch the video. There are admittedly lots of reports of kids seeing ghosts. Jacqueline D. Woolley, a psychology professor at the University of Texas, told the Washington Post in a 2019 article about the phenomena. According to the outlet, there are several reasons that both children and adults are able to perceive ghost sightings. Our minds naturally make connections between events, whether they're connected or not, Woolley explained. The brain pays attention to evidence that fits our theory and ignores the evidence that doesn't fit. Charles Fernyhough, a psychologist at Durham University who investigates the phenomena of hallucinations, told the Post that children's fertile imaginations also play a role here. We know that between a third and two-thirds of children have imaginary companions, Fernyhough said. I think on occasion kids do mix up imagination and reality to have something like a hallucination-like experience. So what is a parent to do if their kid reports sighting a spirit or another imaginary being? First, ask your child how they feel about the ghost to find out if they're scared or distressed by the alleged sighting. Unless there's really distress, don't worry, Fernyhough advised. Engage with the kids as if and ask them what it looks like and what it does. And ask her if she's scared of the ghost or if she likes it or if she's seen it before. Then it's up to you as a parent to decide if you want to encourage this belief or not. So grill your kids and then mock them openly once they prove that they might be wrong. I don't know.
Do you like Satan? Is he a great ghost?
Do you? All right. Golf Hill School has a ghost that spooks Denniston residents after a creepy image appears in a window. I mean, you see the image, but to me, I wouldn't have assumed it to be a ghost. I mean, I can see, again, it looks a lot like pareidolia to me, but it looks more like a velociraptor turned sideways, like his face, than it does a human face looking forward. But that's me. I could be wrong. Dozens of Denniston residents have been left spooked by a creepy image of a ghost at Golf Hill School. Local Martin Monahan has caused a stir on social media after sharing the snap picture on community Facebook. Denniston information page. The photo appears to show an old woman peeking through a window at East End School, which was laying derelict since 2007. At closer inspection, two faces appear side by side, and commenters were quick to refer to previous rumors of a ghost who lived in the school, a young girl who allegedly used to wander around the halls of the top floor. Yet others believe the image bears an uncanny resemblance to Donald Trump, or perhaps even Boris Johnson. Speaking to Glasgow Live, Martin said his friend John Stewart, who took the photo back in January of the year, hadn't noticed anyone in the frame when he originally took the picture, only to be shocked when he later looked through his photos. Meanwhile, Martin says paranormal experts have reviewed the image and believe it to be unexplainable. I don't know about that. He added, John was out with a couple of friends taking pictures of Golf Hill School. The school is due to be demolished soon. That was a weird little sentence, but it's a lot of D's and B's. My mouth did not want to wrap around, Tim. The school is due to be demolished soon, and friends wanted some pictures to remember the school. When John got home, he looked through his photos and got freaked out as he didn't remember seeing anything odd whilst taking pictures. But the creepy image did stand out. John said, I'm not really a big ghost enthusiast, but this image certainly haunted me and my friends. The picture has been sent to paranormal experts who agree the image is certainly unexplainable and that there are actually two heads right beside each other. We returned one night about a month ago and shined a torch up the night, but didn't see anything. We are non-religious and don't believe in ghosts, but when you see something freaky, you can't unsee it. Well, what they needed to do is take a picture of the windows again to see if that image, which I think will always be there because it looks like a flaw in the blinds, like it's a dirty blind or something that's in front of the window.
Yeah, you're right. They should have at least taken double exposure, maybe multiple exposures to see if that changes at all. Yeah.
All right. Well, UK's third oldest university is the site of paranormal activity, according to this report, Tim. If you've ever thought of visiting spooky places around the world, then the oldest university of the United Kingdom will surely give you goosebumps. According to a report in My London, London's oldest university is said to be one of the world's most haunted universities. No deets about the haunted university? We've got them for you. University College London is the UK's largest university and also one of the most haunted universities in the world. Residents told tales of ghosts of a young girl whose spirit is in the university. Notably, London College has become the first secular university in the UK that has admitted students without checking their religion. UCL's campus is based in Bloomsbury with huge apartment buildings spread across central London. Being after such a prestigious university in London, it has also been the site of alleged paranormal activity. Do you want to know why UCL is haunted? Well, we're going to tell you. People have claimed that the university building is haunted by a young girl, Emma Louise, who appears if you repeat her name thrice, Tim. That's a fancy way of saying 3 times.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go, Emma Louise, Emma Louise, Emma Louise.
Oh, no.
But you have to be at the university for her to appear, Tim. So if they turn on the radio show right now and play that part in there, they don't even have to be the one to say it. I did. Reportedly, the girl was killed in a tunnel between the modern building, which has now become student accommodation, and the older cruciform building. As per the results, students once tried to say her name 3 times. They heard the laughter of a girl. Also, they found words written on the wall. However, for such old buildings and universities, haunted tales are unsurprising. According to My London website, the Cruciform building is now home to the Wolfson Institute for Biomedical Research. Earlier, this building was used to be a hospital, which made the paranormal activities even more horrifying. The bizarre thing is that the students now sleep in the same building as the alleged ghost sightings. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, creepy stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Let me go back. We're going to read another email, Tim. Why? Because, people have taken the time to jot to us, so let's read it. Folks, do me a favor. Again, don't send them to me on social media. Send them to me here at dave@darknessradio.com. The social media ones get lost so quickly, it's impossible for me to find them again. I get so many messages, and they get pushed down. There's no way to flag them, mark them, put them in the oven for baby and me, whatever. It doesn't work well. So I need you to just do me a favor and email them to me, and that'll be the best way to go. Dear Duo of Darkness, I'm not sure if Dave is skipping my emails due to my bad spelling or if I ended up in a spam folder, but I'll try my luck anyway. It's a little passive aggressive, but I'll start off with the email. It could be one of all of the above. In September of 2017, I lost my eyesight for almost 6 months due to inflamed optical nerves. Both were at less than 5% of regular sight, and for the first few months, I was too focused on managing day-to-day life to realize that something was off. While I slowly regained partial eyesight, I am now about 30% and am probably stalling there. I was stuck with a very blurry black and white visual spectrum with a touch of yellow due to the pretty much every person in my life was a shadow person if they were more than 5 feet away. There are only a few things that scare me, but someone or something sneaking up on me is a pretty good way to make me jump. Why am I telling you this? Because since early 2018, when my sight was becoming somewhat more reliable and less blurry, I started seeing moving shadows amongst regular people. At this point, my sight wasn't good enough to be able to recognize people or their facial features, but I had a touch of color in my vision. Even now that my sight has progressed to a stage where I can navigate around pretty safely and have some color in my world, I still see those damn things. A while ago, I sent you an email about seeing shadow in a hospital, especially while I was at the ICU. I sent you an email a while ago, but, well, a little bit more passive-aggressive nature here, Tim. Anyway, I told a friend about these visions a day or two after I sent you the email. She referenced the CBS to me for the first time, and that is the Charles Bonnet syndrome we talked about on last week's show. She referenced Charles Bonnet syndrome to me for the first time, and it made my life a lot easier. I'm still twitching when I see shadows moving where there should be no shadows, or at least no movement, and I'm more comfortable being able to believe that this is just my imagination. I also have less frightening visions, usually when I close my eyes to give them rest or before I fall asleep. Those are in bright colors, something I haven't experienced for years, they seem to be visual memories of things I've seen before. Sometimes those visions are comic book characters. Sometimes it's almost like they're pages from a book or a newspaper. Alas, those images scroll by at such a high speed I can barely make out what is passing in front of my eye. I looked up the description at Wikipedia again and found that this condition is considered visual release hallucination, a type of psychophysical visual disturbance and the experience of complex visual hallucinations in a person with partial or severe blindness. I often wonder if those hallucinations are something that we experienced earlier and that was literally burned into our brain, coming back as a hallucination to haunt us like a living nightmare. You mentioned several cases that had positive visions before the scary ones set in, although it seems that the negative visions appear at a higher percentage. Maybe there's a psychological barrier that blocks us from the negative memories while we are still in shock over the sudden loss of our eyesight. And only after somewhat settling into our routines do these visions slowly come to the surface. I would love to know if there are folks out there that had visions of something they were not familiar with, or something that didn't scare them before they lost their sight, like the gent who saw the girl from the Ring movies. I have many more stories of things that happened since I lost my regular eyesight. Most of them are somewhere in your email account. And what my poor husband experienced before he lost his battle with epilepsy in late April. All my best, KJ. Well, KJ, we're sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry I didn't get to some of your other emails. The truth is, if it's poorly written and lots of typo errors and misspellings, sometimes I do just cast them aside, because as I'm trying to read through them, it's hard to decipher some of the letters in emails. I don't know if that's the case with yours. I'll try to look them up and read them on an upcoming episode if that's not the case. But if people do use spell check and I understand you have visual issues that may cause this to be a problem for you, I'm just letting you know it's hard to read those kind of emails because sometimes they're poorly written, so bad that trying to decipher them while I'm reading them along is extremely awkward, painful, and bad for the listeners as well. So that may be the case. But thank you, KJ, and we're sorry for your loss. And thank you for sharing the stories that you have shared with us. Well, that's it for this week on the 50th anniversary of the birth of Tim Dennis, our founding father. Tim, we hope that you have a safe and happy year, that 2020 turns around and becomes full of bliss, love, and laughter for you, and that you have many more. Let's hope that we're together when we can celebrate your 100th birthday and my 103rd. How about that?
Sounds good to me. Thank you.
All right, remember, give Tim a call, 651-300-4977. That's our Voices from Beyond voicemail. You can call and leave him a message there. If it's filled and there's no room, just call him at home at 612.
Dave,
I just figured if they want to give you a birthday call, that'd be the easiest way.
You can do it at the Voices from Beyond line. That's fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know how to get in touch with them, 651-300-4977. You can also send Tim messages, birthday cards, birthday gifts, whatever you've got, to P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, Minnesota 55122. And we will pass those on to him as well. That's it. We will be back tomorrow. Caroline Corey is with us. Superhuman, Making the Invisible Visible is an amazing documentary. Go check it out for yourself and be a part of it. It's really remarkable, but tune in for tomorrow's episode. I'm really excited to share it with you, and I hope that this will be as profound for you as it was for me. That's it for today. We'll be back again next week with more supernatural news and more of your stories right here on Darkness Radio.